And welcome to Hannity. We start tonight with a Fox News alert. At this hour, we are monitoring live pictures from the Biden White House, where President Joe is hosting an official state dinner for the Prime Minister of Japan. Take a look.
Both the Prime Minister and I came of age as our countries were, as they came together. We both remember the choices that were made to forge a friendship that were once only a devastating fight that existed before.
Not exactly awe-inspiring, is it? Going back to World War II, it sounds like. Anyway, to say the least. Now, this caps what has been a very, very unusually long day for your president. It is extremely rare to see Biden after 5 p.m., and as you know, he typically goes to bed early and wakes up late. But Joe is giving it his all for Japan's prime minister, who traveled over 6,000 miles to see him. In fact, Joe appeared in public multiple times today, but not without a lot of help. A lot of help. There were people telling him where to walk, what to say. And of course, Joe didn't go anywhere without his trusty giant cheat sheets. First, inside the White House, during a few brief remarks with his Japanese counterpart, Biden read directly from a note card. Of course, we can't even say hello. Say hello without a note card. Take a look.
Well, Fumio, welcome back to the White House. Welcome back to the Oval Office. It's good to have you here. Good to see you again. When we were here last year, we said the role being played by the United States and Japan is becoming even greater, and I couldn't agree more with your assertion back then. And what we see in our joint support for Ukraine in the face of Russia's vicious assault is just outrageous.
My name is Joe. Welcome to the White House. Anyway, a few hours later, during a short scripted press conference in the Rose Garden, Biden once again read directly from his trusty note cards. He also followed his usual practice of calling on a prearranged group of reporters listed on the note card. Now, this gets very interesting. Then Biden read pre-written answers from the same note card. The fake news journalists and the media mob, what, they're okay with this? Are they just going to pretend this is normal? You know, fake Jake, liberal Joe, do you still claim that you're journalists? Take a close look at your screen. You can literally, look at this, you can literally see the script in the reflection of his giant sunglasses. You can't make this up. Anyway, did Joe have the answer to a question that he already knew would be asked? Because it certainly looks that way. Now, today, virtually everything was scripted by Joe's White House staffers. The president merely just showed up, tried his best to read verbatim from another note card. Well, let's take one more look.
So we had a long discussion almost 2 weeks ago now. And the best way to reduce the chances of miscalculation and misunderstanding is number one. Number two, in our alliance we have with Japan is a purely defensive in nature. Third, next question. Who do I call on next? Hang on a second. I got my list here. Hang on. I apologize. Really of AFP. And thus far, and it's tied to the hostages. There are a number of hostages that are being held by Hamas. And just yesterday, we're meeting with the Vice President, our National Security Advisor before that. And they're American hostages as well.
My name is Joe. Say hi to guest. Hi, guest. It's clear Biden is just not capable of taking unscripted questions. He's not able to communicate extemporaneously. I'd love for him to host my radio show with 750 stations. It's all extemporaneous for 3 hours, just one day. That would be entertaining. Anyway, even with the huge amount of help from his large staff, Joe struggles in a massive way, as per usual. That's predictable. Take a look.
Prime Minister is going to travel to North Carolina tomorrow to visit that project. Don't stay. Don't stay. We need you back in Japan. They'll probably try to keep you. Our commitment to the defense of Japan under Article 5, including the Senkaku Islands, is unwavering. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Why didn't everybody holler at once? Elect me. I'm in the 20th century, 21st century, not back then.
What happens when China reunites, as they call it, or has reunification with Taiwan? Anyway, every day a struggle for your president, especially on those rare occasions when the president is forced to work for more than a few minutes. Now, in contrast, President Trump is constantly working, communicating with the American people. And today he was in the great state of Georgia, in Atlanta, where he answered a ton of questions on a variety of topics during an impromptu press conference. He then visited a local Chick-fil-A, where he was warmly greeted by the staff and customers and this very enthusiastic supporter and pro-Trump organizer. Oh, and he also gave away free shakes to people that were there. Take a look.
I don't care what the media tells you, Mr. Trump. We support you.
We support you, man.
Okay, 4 p.m. We've been 4 p.m.
Come here, let me give you a
All while Joe Biden is scared to leave his bedroom without a giant cheat sheet telling him where to stand, what to say, who to answer questions, what to do when it's time to say goodbye. Well, from President Trump, he's having real conversations with Americans every day. Unlike Biden, Trump is not afraid to answer tough questions. That's because Trump's policies, they actually worked, and he's not a cognitive mess. But in the last 3 years, the current administration's policies, they have frankly, well, pretty much wrecked the country from border to border. Joe cannot run on his record because everything is gone, well, catastrophically wrong, and continues to get worse. For example, today we found out that inflation is again going in the wrong direction. Guess what? It wasn't transitory after all. Another lie. Meanwhile, abroad, tensions between Israel and Iran are now escalating. This comes just a few short days after Joe abandoned Israel, put a knife in their back just to appease the radical base that is now the modern Democratic Party. That is their party, which at the end of the day is now helping the terrorist group Hamas that literally attacked Israel not lose the war that they started. His radical base insisting that Biden leave our closest ally hanging out to dry as they battle Hamas terrorists in what is a literal war for Israel's survival. And there are Americans still held hostage. Nobody seems to talk about them. Needless to say, Biden cannot run on his record. He can't ask the question, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Can't run on his intellect. Certainly his personality is not that warm and charming. It's a little creepy at times. Joe and his fellow Democrats have resorted to pretty wild scare tactics. You know, for example, I have a few of them. Biden recently tweeted, quote, Trump doesn't trust women, and that he, quote, despises Latinos, and that he's trying to rip away health care from Americans and kill millions of Americans. Stop right there. He's trying to kill you. That's what Joe Biden is running on. Biden also accused Trump and MAGA of trying to take away our freedoms. He also accused Trump of, quote, exploding the national debt, threatening to cut Social Security and Medicare, and passing a national ban on a woman's right to choose. None of this is even remotely true. Joe is lying, but that's all he has, and it gets worse. Take a look.
My predecessor and his MAGA friends want to, I love the phrase, the language they use, they want to terminate the Affordable Care Act. Terminate. Well, guess what? Killing millions of Americans, take them off of health care.
Take a look at the things that they're rolling back. Remember I said ages ago, you know, they, in their minds, they want to bring slavery back.
Donald Trump uses phrases like, we're going to eviscerate the Constitution. He's going to be a dictator on day one.
If it's a Trump reelection, Zelensky has legitimate reason to be concerned.
My sense is Donald Trump would hand the keys over to Putin. Why fight when you can just get the keys from a new American president?
Recent reports that if reelected, Trump will seek to retaliate against his political opponents as well.
Donald Trump will sign a national abortion ban into law if he is elected president and Republicans control the Congress.
Continue to build on infrastructure, on bringing high-tech manufacturing back to the United States, on a clean energy revolution. That'll all stop if Donald Trump gets reelected as president.
Do you believe if Donald Trump were elected next year that he would try to stay in office beyond a second term? That he would never leave office?
There's no question.
You think he would try to stay in power forever?
Absolutely.
Anyway, kill Americans, bring slavery back. He's going to be a dictator. He's saying it. He said it on this show. Yeah, I'll be a dictator for one day on the border and bringing oil production back. That's all he said. After more than 3 years in office, Biden has nothing to show other than a burning hatred for Donald Trump. Now desperate, will say he's trying to kill you. What happened to keep your doctor, keep your plan, save $2,500 per family per year, Obamacare, the promise? Millions of you lost your plan, lost your doctor. You're paying 250% more, and nearly half the country has one Obamacare exchange option. How's that working for you? And the people on the left are so desperate, attacking Trump now for an Arizona Supreme Court ruling that upholds what is a Civil War-era law banning abortion. This will be fixed in the next week or two. Let not your heart be troubled. I can pretty much assure that will happen. Trump opposes the law and this ruling, or you can believe Joe's make pretend Donald Trump that doesn't exist. And you know what? Arizona's governor is a Democrat. The state's attorney general is a Democrat. The state legislature is almost evenly divided. If Democrats, you want to get rid of the law, well, you have a chance right now to get rid of it. And I would advise you, get rid of it. They would rather use it as a political tool ahead of November. Most politicians on the left do not actually care about making your life better. Otherwise, they'd be screaming bloody murder about the clear and present danger that Joe is creating at our border by aiding and abetting over 10 million illegal, unvetted immigrants that Joe's allowed into the country from countries like China, Russia, Iran, Syria, Egypt, and Afghanistan. They only care about winning elections and holding on to power. And the proof is in the pudding. Take a look at cities and towns Democrats have enjoyed one-party rule for what, decades? They're the most violent, most disorganized, most expensive places in America. And in just 3 years under your President Joe, the entire country has started to mirror all of that chaos. In 208 days, you have a golden opportunity to choose a different path forward. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.